Today, I want to show you the backtest feature on a Lunavio platform. Backtesting allows you to test your strategy on historical data so you can adjust it over and over until you reach the best results and then apply that to your real trading. You can find this tool by logging into your Lunavio account and clicking Auto Trading and finally Backtests. So at the very beginning, you need to select whether you want to build your trading strategy from scratch and set up all the parameters by yourself, or use one of the presets. For now, let's select Configure from scratch so I can explain every parameter to you. Remember that while we can change many parameters and triggers here, it's still a strategy based on Bollinger Bands. So if you're not familiar with how this strategy works, I suggest you to watch our other video where everything is explained in detail. So here we select the coins that will be tested by the strategy. To add more coins, simply click Add Coin and choose the ones you want. You can also quickly remove coins from the list by clicking the X mark next to the coin's name. The next step is to set your initial capital, which represents how much money you have on your exchange platform. It can be a realistic value so you can see how much you would actually earn, or you can type in any amount just to see what happens. Then you set leverage, which should also be familiar to you after watching our previous videos. Setting leverage doesn't always mean you will be using its full capacity. It depends on the position size you set later or the maximum number of positions opened at the same time. Next, we have the backtest mode switch. It cannot be turned off here because we are in the backtest tool itself, but you will find the same switch outside of the backtest tool when setting up an actual live trading strategy. Thing is that the backtest works on 1-minute candles. This means that if we set an interval of 15 minutes, it will analyze 15 1-minute candles. In actual trading mode, market conditions are analyzed every 1 second. This means even a quick price change happening within a few seconds can be caught and a position opened, so it doesn't work exactly the same as a backtest mode where the market is analyzed once per minute. That's why you will find a backtest switch in a live trading mode. Without it, the system refreshes every 1 second, which is a great feature for advanced users. With the backtest switch turned on, your live trading will work exactly like the backtest mode, ensuring your tested strategies perform the same way in a real-world scenario. Now let's look at the direction and timing section. Under position direction, you said whether you want to open both short and long positions or stick to one direction only. Next, you set up entry moment, which can be intra-candle or on-candle close. Intra-candle means the position will be opened on the current candle, which, as we mentioned, refreshes every 1 minute. On candle close, however, if we have, for example, 15 minutes interval, we wait for that 15-minute candle to close before analyzing whether it fits our triggers. It's also worth mentioning that the system does not check the lower and the upper wicks of the candles, so it analyzes only the body of the candle. The same applies to intra-candle mode. Within 15 minutes, it analyzes 15 1-minute candles without their wicks. Then you set the interval, and here it's usually best to keep it at 15 minutes. The cooldown period defines how long the system will wait after closing a position before opening a new one. For example, if a position is closed on Solana, regardless of whether it hits take profit or stop loss, this particular coin will not be traded for the next 60 minutes. Next is the break threshold for Bollinger Bands. This is how far a candle needs to break through the upper or lower Bollinger Band to trigger a position. In max concurrent setups, you set how many positions can be opened at the same time. In coin selection policy, you decide how the system prioritizes multiple opportunities. Here, I suggest keeping the first arrive setting, meaning a position will be opened for the first coin that meets the strategy conditions. Now we can select whether we want to look for additional triggers beyond just the Bollinger Band breakout. The first one is RSI, where you select the values for opening short and long positions. Let's say we want to try 70 for short and 30 for long. Next is stochastic RSI, which offers an extra trigger. If we select line cross confirmation type, position will open only if both lines cross each other and when values are within the range we set below. The second option only checks if the values fits within that range. Let's set it to 80 for short and 20 for long position. Then we set the position size. Since we have an initial capital of $1,000, we could open, for example, 10 positions of $100 each or 2 positions of $500 each, depending on the multi-coin settings we set before. Because we also have high leverage, we could try opening $1,000 position, but remember that take profit and stop loss are calculated based on this value. Now it's time to set take profit value, for example 1%, and as you can see that's going to be $10. However, as you can see, this section is called entry pyramid, meaning we can execute multiple entries instead of just one. You can adjust that by moving the entry slider above, and you will see that the second entry appears. But when does this second entry happen? It's triggered when the price moves in the wrong direction by the percentage value you set in a trigger field. For example, let's say we open long position for $1,000 with take profit at 1%. If the price goes down instead of up, we begin to lose money. In a standard setup, we would just have a stop loss, for example at 2%. So if the price reaches that level, the position closes automatically. What we can do instead is place another entry if the price drops, effectively expanding our position. So let's say the second entry will be $2,000 and a trigger set at 5%. Now we set a new take profit. It can be lower, higher or the same, but what's important is that now it's calculated for the entire position. So in this case it's 2% based on a total of $3,000. When we have more than one entry, an additional setting becomes available, trigger mode. Price only means that if the price drops by the percentage value you set, it simply triggers the second entry. Price plus BB breakout means that price needs to go down and it also needs to break through the Bollinger Band by the percentage you set on the right. Next we set the stop loss value. Even though there are different settings to choose from, let's stick to % from last entry as it's the most optimal approach. So if we set it for 2%, position will be closed when the price goes in the wrong direction by 2%. If you have multiple entries, the system will execute all of the entries you set and then measure the 2% stop loss after the final entry. And speaking of stop loss, there's another feature you can enable. Trailing stop loss. It works by moving your stop loss level to a safer point after your position starts becoming profitable. For example, if we set 50% of distance to TP and move SL2 break even, it means that when price goes up for a long position and it's halfway through your TP level, stop loss level will be moved from 2% to the point when position was opened. It means it's no longer possible to lose money on this position. You can also add another threshold. For example, if we passed 80% way to our TP, we can move stop loss to 30% of TP distance, so from this point profit is guaranteed. And that's all. We have successfully came across all the settings. Now we just set date range we want to test this strategy, so let's choose last 30 days and click Run Backtest. The more coins you add and the more date range, the longer you have to wait for test to be completed. After a while, we can see that this strategy ended up with slightly above 50% of win rate and $31 profit. We also had a point where an open position reached a maximum drawdown of $236 and we executed a total of 49 trades. Below you will find top coins section showing which assets performed best. If we scroll down, we can see performance of long and short positions, and below that we can see how many times we had second entry. Here you can also find positions that were still opened at the end of the test. There's also trade section which you can expand by clicking anywhere on it. Here we can review all 49 executed trades, when they opened and closed, how long they lasted, and the exact profit or loss. When we click on any individual trade, like this first one on Solana, we can see how this entry looks like in details. You can see it was actually opened above Bollinger Band. RSI and stochastic RSI were at proper level and we had a crossing lines. As you can see, few candles to the right, position was closed with take profit. If you don't see any indicators, you can turn them on and off by simply clicking the ones you want above the graph. Now we can go back, go straight to the bottom, and here we can run another backtest. This time let's test one of the presets, for example Falcon 9. Scroll down and select the same date range, and click Run Backtest. This one achieved 80% win rate with $41 profit. The top performer for this strategy was Litecoin with 3 take profits and 0 stop losses. And once again, you can analyze all the results and compare them to previous tests. Let's run another one. For example, Merlin. Make sure that 30 days is selected. And as you can see, we need to wait few more seconds because we wanted to run it too quickly. When it's available again, just click it. And here we can see 86% of win rate with $763 of profit. We did 74 trades, and this time Avalanche was the coin with the best performance with 12 take profits and 0 stop losses. Litecoin also performed very well with 8 TP and 0 SL, and Dogecoin takes 3rd place with 8 TP and 1 SL. So this is how you test your strategy. You can change parameters one by one and see how it influences the final result. When you finally found your best settings, you can go to the top of a page and save it as a template so you can use that on a real trading. But once again, let me remind you that if you want to use your own templates that you tested, make sure that when you set up a coin, you select the backtest mode so that trading works in the same way as a backtest. It means it analyzes market once in a minute and not once in a second, which may bring you different results. Trading cryptocurrencies, particularly with leverage, carries a high level of risk and may result in a loss of all invested capital. Lunavio's materials and features are provided for educational and informational purposes only and do not constitute investment advice or a recommendation. Past performance does not guarantee future results.